"You dare look at me," she said. I smiled and replied, "Only because you're beautiful." The space station hung like a glittering crown around the distant orange sun. Ships of every shape and size moved along its orbital lanes, docking and departing with rhythmic precision. Eli adjusted the straps of his pack and stepped through the crowded docking bay, his eyes scanning the chaos of the station. He had walked on human colonies, alien worlds, and trade hubs, but this place felt different. Here, every creature seemed aware of its own importance, and humans were still newcomers, small, curious, and often underestimated. Eli moved past a group of tall, four-armed traders haggling over exotic metals, nodding politely. He caught fragments of their conversation, though most words were beyond his understanding. The station's language grid translated some for him, but even then, nuances and cultural tones were difficult. Still, Eli was determined to make a good impression. Humans had a reputation for curiosity, adaptability, and persistence, and he intended to show that off, even among the galaxy's elite. As he navigated a bustling corridor, a sudden movement caught his eye. Across the way, a figure walked with grace and authority, and for a moment the crowd seemed to part around her. She was unlike anything Eli had ever seen. Her skin shimmered with a faint metallic hue, and her eyes were a striking shade of violet, sharp yet serene. She carried herself with a confidence that demanded attention. Despite the throng of aliens, every head seemed to instinctively acknowledge her presence. Eli's breath caught. He had studied alien hierarchies, knew which species held power, and understood the subtle signs of dominance. Yet none of that prepared him for the raw, magnetic presence of this alien. Humans rarely encountered individuals like her, and to face one here, in the heart of a station that constantly reminded humans of their newcomer status, was a challenge he didn't expect, but somehow he felt ready. Their eyes met. She froze for a fraction of a second, her violet gaze sharp and questioning. Then she raised her chin, and her voice rang clear across the corridor, smooth and commanding. "You dare look at me." Humans had a strange courage, a combination of curiosity and confidence that often surprised other species. Eli smiled faintly, letting his eyes meet hers without fear. "Only because you're beautiful," he said simply. A ripple passed through the crowd. Some gasped, others whispered, unsure whether the human was foolish, bold, or both. The alien noble's lips curved into the faintest hint of a smile. Her eyes narrowed, assessing him with careful calculation. She was not used to being spoken to this way. Most aliens, when confronted, either bowed, deflected, or challenged immediately. Eli did none of these. He had only spoken the truth, and somehow, that was far more audacious than any boast or insult could have been. She studied him for a long moment, and then, without warning, she stepped aside, allowing him to pass. "Follow me," she said, her voice firm but carrying a note of curiosity. "You will see if your words hold any weight." They ascended several levels of the station, passing through halls adorned with alien art and technology beyond human imagination. Machines hummed, lights glimmered in colors he had never seen, and the air was filled with scents and sounds that hinted at 1,000 different worlds. Finally, they reached a large chamber. It was circular, with a high domed ceiling and walls lined with artifacts that pulsed with energy. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the floor, reacting to the presence of those within the room. Eli could feel a slight vibration beneath his feet, a gentle hum of power that suggested the station itself was alive in some way. "Sit," she commanded, motioning to a low platform at the center of the room. Eli complied, noting that the subtle curve of the platform seemed to adapt to the shape of whoever sat upon it. Syria, he had learned her name from a nearby aide, stood across from him, watching every subtle movement, every shift in posture. "You are a human," she said, almost as if stating a fact rather than asking a question. "Curious, bold, and strangely confident. Most of your kind would cower in my presence, yet you speak freely. Why?" "Humans have a strange way of learning," he said finally. We are small in the galaxy, but we adapt quickly. We observe, we think, and we act. Fear doesn't often guide us. Curiosity does. And sometimes the truth is the best way to meet a challenge. You could offend, and yet you risk it all with a single sentence. Fascinating. Perhaps there is value in testing you further. Fail and, she paused, letting the threat hang in the air. You will simply learn why your kind is underestimated. You will navigate this station and retrieve a series of artifacts important to my people. Each artifact represents a value or concept that humans rarely understand. You must not only find them, but also demonstrate that you comprehend their significance. Only then will the test be complete. Humans thrived under pressure, finding creative solutions where others saw obstacles. Where do I start? This was exactly the kind of test humans excelled at. Other species relied on strength, technology, or rigid tradition. Humans relied on intuition, creativity, and adaptability. Already, he could feel the edge he carried in this galaxy, one that many aliens failed to anticipate. He navigated the station with care, observing the small details others ignored. A faint glimmer behind a maintenance panel revealed the first artifact, a crystalline orb that pulsed with a soft inner light. Eli examined it carefully, noting inscriptions etched in the alien language. Using the translation matrix in his wrist device, he deciphered the meaning. It represented trust, a concept the alien culture valued deeply. He smiled. Humans understood trust, sometimes in ways other species did not. Returning to Syria's chamber, Eli placed the orb before her. It represents trust, he said confidently. I understand why it is important. Without trust, civilizations fail. Without trust, alliances collapse. Even small mistakes can have large consequences. Humans were underestimated constantly, yet here, in the heart of alien society, he was proving their worth. One artifact, one success, and already he felt the subtle shift of perception. The rest of the afternoon passed in a series of similar tests. Eli moved from chamber to chamber, solving puzzles, reading subtle cultural cues, and interpreting alien symbolism. Each challenge was more complex than the last, designed to test not brute strength but intellect, empathy, and adaptability. With every step, Eli proved that humans, though young in galactic terms, possessed a unique combination of qualities that could not be ignored. By the time he returned to Syria's chamber at the day's end, he was weary but satisfied. The orb, the glyph, the small mechanical device, all were placed in front of her, each one correctly interpreted and respected. Syria studied him carefully, her expression unreadable for a moment before it finally softened. You have done well, human, she said. Few could complete these tests. Fewer still would do so without arrogance, without deceit. You have something rare, honesty and skill combined. Perhaps humans will indeed find their place among the stars, not as servants but as equals. Tomorrow the challenge continues, but in ways you cannot yet imagine. Be ready, human, for the galaxy is far larger and stranger than any one station can reveal. In the chaos of the galaxy, amidst alien civilizations that underestimated his kind, Eli felt a spark of hope. Humans were small, young, and often overlooked, but they had something that no machine, no alien armada, no protocol could replace: ingenuity, courage, and a heart willing to meet the impossible with honesty. And that spark, Eli knew, would grow. The next morning, Eli awoke to the faint hum of the space station. He stretched and adjusted his pack, feeling a mixture of anticipation and curiosity. Yesterday's encounters with Syria had left him intrigued and cautious. The alien noble was unlike any other he had met in the galaxy, proud, intelligent, and unpredictable. He had survived her first series of tests, but he knew the day ahead would demand far more. Humans were known for persistence, but the galaxy often measured them by the smallest mistakes. When he entered the chamber where Syria awaited, he found her already standing, eyes fixed on the holographic map of the station. She turned as he approached, her expression unreadable. "Today," she said, "the challenges will be less about observation and more about action. You must navigate obstacles that test your courage, creativity, and understanding of our values. Are you prepared, human?" Syria waved her hand, and the map shifted, highlighting a series of paths, rooms, and chambers. Within the station are 3 artifacts. Each represents a principle central to my people's culture. You must retrieve them and demonstrate not only that you understand their meaning, but that you can act in accordance with it. Failure will mean the end of this challenge. He studied the paths carefully. The station was a labyrinth, designed to confuse and test even the most experienced navigators. Many aliens failed because they relied too heavily on maps, patterns, or brute strength. Humans, however, excelled in improvisation and intuition. Eli would rely on both. He chose the first path, leading to a sector of the station rarely visited by civilians. The corridors were dim, and the air was thick with the scent of metallic machinery. Strange lights flickered overhead, casting shifting shadows that made the walls seem alive. Eli moved cautiously, listening to the faint hum of the station and noting every detail: the rhythm of passing ships, the vibrations beneath his feet, and the subtle markings that indicated access routes and hidden doors. After careful searching, he found the first artifact, a small, intricate crystal suspended within a force field. Its surface shimmered with colors that shifted depending on the angle of view. A small plaque beneath it displayed an inscription in the alien script. Using his translator, Eli deciphered its meaning. It represented adaptability, the ability to change, learn, and survive in an unpredictable universe. Eli smiled. Humans were masters of adaptability, often thriving in environments where other species struggled. He studied the artifact, then gently manipulated the field controls, using logic and observation to deactivate the barrier without triggering alarms. The crystal hovered in his hand, its light reflecting in his eyes. Returning to Syria's chamber, he presented the artifact. "This represents adaptability," he explained. "It is not enough to survive. One must also learn and adjust. Humans have done this for generations, facing worlds, challenges, and species far beyond our original reach. We understand that change is necessary, and we embrace it, even when it is difficult. The next artifact will challenge your courage more directly." He moved cautiously, aware that even a single misstep could set off alarms or worse. Soon, he reached a chamber with a large pit at its center, the edges lined with glowing alien symbols. At the bottom of the pit was the second artifact, a spherical device that pulsed with energy. To retrieve it, Eli would need to cross a series of narrow platforms suspended over the void. Any misstep could mean a fall into the abyss. Eli assessed the platforms. They were uneven, shifting slightly under weight, designed to test balance, precision, and calm under pressure. Many aliens would hesitate, calculating every move and often failing to act. Humans, however, often relied on instinct and coordination under stress. Eli took a deep breath, focusing on the rhythm of his steps, the vibrations beneath his feet, and the faint hum of the station's energy. He moved carefully, stepping lightly from platform to platform. The pulsing lights reflected in his eyes, creating a rhythm that guided his movements. Halfway across, one platform tilted unexpectedly. Instinctively, he shifted his weight and adjusted his center, landing safely on the next platform. His heart raced, but he maintained focus, reaching the artifact without incident. The inscription revealed its meaning: courage. Eli held the sphere, understanding the lesson it carried. Courage was not merely bravery in the face of danger, but the wisdom to act when hesitation could be more harmful than risk. Humans often displayed courage in subtle ways, risking little for the sake of principle or exploration, and sometimes risking everything when protecting others. Returning to Syria, he placed the artifact before her. "Courage," he said. "Not reckless action, but thoughtful bravery. Humans have faced countless dangers, often in places and situations where we were underestimated. Yet we persist, not for glory but because survival, exploration, and honor demand it. But the final artifact will test both your intellect and your ability to act in harmony with others. Few succeed without demonstrating empathy and insight into the needs of others. The artifact was hidden among them, requiring Eli to navigate the area carefully without harming any of the beings. He studied the creature's patterns, noticing subtle movements and signs. One creature was trapped behind a barrier, its small limbs pressing against the wall in desperation. Eli carefully deactivated the barrier without touching the creature, then gently guided it back to a safe area. Finally, he found the artifact, a delicate crystalline cube that shimmered with internal light. The inscription revealed its meaning: empathy. Eli held the cube with care, understanding the lesson. True understanding required awareness of the needs and feelings of others, a trait humans had developed through history, cooperation, and community. Many species relied on dominance, fear, or logic alone, but humans often succeeded because they could connect, understand, and act with consideration. He returned to Syria, placing the artifact before her. Empathy, he said. Understanding the needs of others and acting to protect or assist them is what allows civilizations to thrive. Humans, despite our flaws, have learned this lesson time and again. Cooperation, compassion, and insight into others' struggles are essential for survival and growth. You have demonstrated adaptability, courage, and empathy. More importantly, you have done so with intelligence and integrity. Few species could navigate these challenges without arrogance or error. You have shown that humans, though new to the galaxy, possess qualities that are rare and valuable. Humans were often underestimated, but here, in the heart of alien society, he had proven that they had more to offer than many realized. He had faced challenges that required observation, instinct, courage, and understanding, and he had succeeded. Syria stepped closer, her eyes sharp yet not unkind. You have earned more than recognition today, human. You have proven that your kind is capable of more than many believe. But this is only the beginning. The galaxy will continue to challenge you, test you, and attempt to measure your worth. Do not forget what you have learned here. Observation, courage, and empathy are as important as strength or technology. Your humanity is your greatest advantage. I will carry these lessons forward, not just for myself, but for all humans. We are small in the galaxy, but we have the ability to learn, adapt, and survive. We have the ability to thrive. Tomorrow, the challenges will become more complex. Be ready, human, for the galaxy will not wait, and it will not slow for anyone. Each encounter, each test, was a step toward proving not only his own worth but the potential of all humanity. Walking through the corridors, he observed the station with renewed perspective. Humans had a unique advantage: the ability to combine courage, creativity, and empathy in ways other species rarely considered. Where others relied solely on technology, strength, or tradition, humans often succeeded through insight, intuition, and the willingness to act when others hesitated. Eli's mind wandered briefly to Syria. Her gaze, sharp and assessing, had changed over the course of the day. Where suspicion and authority had dominated, there was now respect, quiet, subtle, but unmistakable. Humans were new, fragile in the eyes of the galaxy, but here, in a single day, he had begun to show that their kind had value beyond measure. He paused at a window overlooking the starfield. Ships moved in intricate patterns, the glow of distant suns illuminating their sleek forms. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers, wonders, and challenges yet unseen. But for the first time, Eli felt that humans, despite their small numbers, despite their newness, could not be ignored. They were adaptable, brave, and empathetic. They could survive, thrive, and even shine among civilizations far older and more powerful. And Eli knew that tomorrow, and the days after, humanity's potential would be tested again. But he also knew this: humans had a spark within them, one that many species failed to understand, one that could turn the smallest act of courage or kindness into something extraordinary. For now, he allowed himself a quiet smile. The challenge was only beginning, and already humans were proving their worth. The station had grown quieter that evening. Eli moved through the corridors, observing the soft glow of energy conduits and the hum of distant machinery. He had completed Syria's initial challenges, proving adaptability, courage, and empathy. Yet a lingering sense of unease pressed against him. The galaxy was rarely predictable, and the calm he felt was often a prelude to chaos. Humans had learned long ago that survival required constant vigilance, and Eli's instincts whispered that something was about to happen. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station, their shrill tones echoing off the walls. Red lights pulsed as automated messages in multiple languages warned of incoming hostiles. Eli's heart raced, but he moved quickly, assessing the situation. Pirates, unregistered raiders known across multiple star systems, were approaching the station. Their ships were small, agile, and armed with weapons capable of breaching even reinforced defenses. The station's automated systems struggled to respond, and panic rippled through the crowd. Syria appeared at his side, her usual calm replaced by intensity. "The pirates aim to capture me," she said. "They underestimate humans, but I trust you can act. The station's defenses are partially offline, and many of my people panic under threat. You must use your mind and your skills to turn the tide." He would need every advantage he had. He moved to the station's control hub, navigating corridors filled with panicked traders, soldiers, and crew. Systems flickered and alarms blared, but Eli observed patterns others missed. He noted the sequence of power surges, the timing of the docking bay shields, and the weaknesses in the pirate ships' approach vectors. A plan formed in his mind, one that relied not on brute force, but on cunning and strategy. At the control hub, he accessed the station's auxiliary systems. Most species would have attempted direct confrontation, risking destruction or chaos. Eli instead reprogrammed the docking bay defenses, creating an invisible barrier that would trap the pirate ships in a confined area. Simultaneously, he activated emergency thrusters to subtly shift the station's orbit, creating gravitational pressure that would make maneuvering more difficult for the attackers. As the pirates began their assault, Eli watched carefully. They fired on automated turrets, expecting them to respond predictably. But Eli had rerouted the turrets' targeting systems, using decoy signals to confuse them. Lasers missed, shots went astray, and the pirates became frustrated, their formations breaking under pressure. Syria observed from a control balcony, her violet eyes sharp. "Impressive," she said. "You are not merely reacting. You anticipate, adapt, and manipulate. Humans may be new, but your ingenuity is remarkable." The humans' improvisation turned the tide, and the pirates' confidence faltered. Amid the chaos, Eli noticed a small shuttle attempting to reach Syria directly. He acted quickly, calculating its trajectory and predicting the pilot's instinctual responses. Using the station's tractor beams, he guided the shuttle into a holding bay, neutralizing the threat without harm. The crew inside froze in surprise, but Eli gave a firm, calm gesture to show they were unharmed. His solution combined courage with empathy, a hallmark of human ingenuity that other species often failed to anticipate. The remaining pirate ships, confused and disorganized, attempted to retreat. Eli anticipated their moves, using automated drones to guide them into temporary containment fields. Within minutes, the station was secure. Alarms faded and the red lights dimmed. Panic subsided as traders, crew, and officials realized the threat had been neutralized without loss of life. Syria descended to the control hub, her expression a mixture of relief and admiration. "You have done what few of my kind could," she said. "Not through strength, not through superior technology, but through thought, observation, and decisive action. You have saved the station, the lives within it, and my honor." Strategy, intuition, and understanding are as important as power. Today, your actions prove that humans are not merely capable, they can excel where others falter. Humans were often underestimated, but actions spoke louder than reputation. Today, the galaxy had witnessed what humans could achieve. Syria stepped closer, her presence commanding yet not threatening. There is one more lesson today, human. Observe closely. She gestured to a nearby console, activating a real-time holographic map of the pirate fleet. Notice the patterns of their retreat. They are not defeated, they are recalibrating. The galaxy will continue to test you, and humans must remain vigilant. Strength is temporary, power is fleeting, but strategy and understanding endure. He considered the weaknesses, the likely motives, and the patterns of behavior. Already, he formulated contingency plans, knowing that tomorrow or the next day, the galaxy would demand more from him, and from all humans. As the station's emergency systems returned to normal, Syria placed a hand on his shoulder. You have done more than survive today. You have demonstrated what it means to be human. Your kind is small, young, and often underestimated, yet you carry within you the qualities of ingenuity, courage, and empathy. You can shape outcomes where others fail. Yet humans had an edge few recognized: the ability to think, adapt, and act in moments of uncertainty. Today had been proof of that edge. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Not for praise, but for showing that humans can be trusted to act with intelligence and courage. We are not the strongest, but we can be the most adaptable and sometimes the most effective. Trust is earned, human, and you have earned mine. Today, the station owes its survival to you, and my people have seen your kind in a new light. The galaxy may continue to challenge you, but never forget what you have shown. A combination of mind, heart, and courage can surpass strength and technology alike." Ships moved in complex patterns, trading, patrolling, and exploring. Each star, each system, was a challenge waiting to be met, a test of skill, courage, and understanding. Humans were small among these forces, yet capable of extraordinary things. As the night deepened on the station, Eli allowed himself a brief moment of reflection. He thought of the human colonies, of worlds where survival had depended on ingenuity rather than size or strength. He thought of explorers, pioneers, and diplomats who had traveled farther than most beings dared. Humans had learned that survival and progress required more than weapons or numbers. They required thinking, adapting, and acting with integrity. A soft chime brought his attention back to Syria, who stood beside him, silent and watchful. "The galaxy will continue to challenge you, human," she said. "But know this, your actions today will be remembered. Humans may be young, but they carry the spark of greatness. Never underestimate yourselves and never underestimate what you can achieve. Humans will continue to adapt, to learn, and to rise. Today was proof of what we can do, and tomorrow will be another chance to show the galaxy our worth. You have proven much, but the galaxy is vast, and there are challenges yet unseen." Today, those qualities had turned the tide against pirates, saved a station, and earned the respect of one of the galaxy's most powerful nobles. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the station, a reminder that the galaxy was larger than any one conflict, any one challenge, or any one species. Yet for the first time, Eli felt that humans had a place among them, not as weak newcomers but as beings capable of extraordinary deeds. And in that moment, he knew that humanity's journey was only beginning. The next morning, the space station felt alive with renewed energy. Traders and travelers moved with purpose, crew members checked systems, and a quiet tension lingered in the corridors. Eli walked among them, observing the subtle ways the station had changed. Humans were newcomers, but whispers of his actions against the pirates had spread quickly. The galaxy was beginning to notice that humans were not merely observers. They could act, adapt, and even lead when circumstances demanded. Syria awaited him in her private chamber, the violet glow of her eyes calm but sharp. "You have proven yourself," she said. Yet the final stage of this journey is not only about skill or courage. It is about perception, influence, and the ability to unite others under a common purpose. The Council of My People and Allied Species will convene today, and you will demonstrate what it means to be human among civilizations far older and more powerful than yours. He understood the stakes. Diplomacy was a delicate dance in the galaxy, where a single misstep could escalate into conflict. Humans often relied on negotiation, intuition, and honesty, qualities that sometimes made them seem inexperienced, but could also create opportunities others overlooked. Today, he would show that humans could match wits and wisdom with any species. The council chamber was vast, circular, and adorned with symbols representing countless worlds. Aliens of all shapes and sizes filled the seats, their eyes sharp and curious, some skeptical, others dismissive. At the center stood Syria, her presence commanding attention as she guided Eli to the floor. A hush fell over the assembly as he stepped forward. "Human," one of the council elders said, his voice deep and resonant. "You have acted boldly, yet the galaxy judges not only deeds but understanding. Can your kind truly grasp the complexity of interstellar society? We are small in number, but we are capable of insight, courage, and cooperation. Yesterday, we saved a station not by strength alone, but by thinking, observing, and acting with care. Today, I hope to show that humans can contribute more than many expect." Often underestimated, they could act in ways no other species anticipated. Eli continued, "I ask not for power, status, or reward," he said. "I ask for opportunity. Opportunity to show that humanity's ingenuity, courage, and empathy can benefit all. We do not seek to dominate, but to participate, to learn, and to protect what is valuable. We understand that strength without wisdom or courage without care leads to destruction. Humans have learned, often through hardship, to balance these qualities. Today, I offer proof of that understanding. How can your kind contribute meaningfully among ancient species who have shaped star systems for millennia? Humans are not the strongest, but we are adaptable, innovative, and capable of empathy. These qualities allow us to contribute in ways others cannot anticipate." They observed, calculated, and acted decisively, saving lives and maintaining order. I recommend recognition for this human, and by extension, all of humanity. Yet the evidence was undeniable. Eli's actions had proven that humans possessed unique qualities that could not be ignored. The elder reptilian representative spoke again, softer this time. "Your deeds are commendable, human, but will your kind act with consistency? One success does not prove enduring value. Humans have learned to observe, adapt, and act with courage and empathy repeatedly. We make mistakes, as all species do, but our ability to learn, recover, and improve is unmatched. Today, I offer not only my actions, but the promise of humanity's continued effort to contribute positively to the galaxy." Then slowly, council members began nodding, recognizing the truth in his words. Humans were underestimated not because they lacked ability, but because they were young, small, and often ignored. Eli had turned that perception on its head. Syria's violet eyes met his. "You have done well," she said quietly, her tone carrying warmth beneath her usual authority. "Humans are not merely survivors. You are capable of greatness, often in ways others cannot comprehend. Your actions today have opened doors not just for you, but for your entire species." Today, that legacy was being acknowledged on a scale few could have imagined. The council voted, and for the first time, humans were formally recognized as valued members of interstellar diplomacy. Representatives applauded, some standing, others nodding respectfully. Eli's heart swelled with a mixture of relief and triumph. Humans had earned a place not by domination, but by demonstrating qualities that were unique and indispensable. After the session, Syria guided him to a quiet observation deck overlooking the stars. Ships moved in intricate patterns, trading, exploring, and patrolling systems. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers and opportunities, but also full of potential allies. Eli understood that humanity's journey was only beginning, and that their actions today would be remembered as the start of a new chapter. Humans are often underestimated, Syria said, her gaze fixed on the starfield. Yet your kind possesses qualities that many older species lack: adaptability, courage, empathy, and creativity. You have proven that these traits are powerful, capable of shaping events in ways no one else anticipates. These traits have allowed us to survive, to explore, and now, perhaps, to contribute meaningfully to the galaxy. Opportunities will follow, challenges will increase, and your kind will continue to grow stronger in ways others cannot imagine. Across countless worlds, from the smallest colonies to the largest stations, they had faced dangers, solved problems, and survived when others would have failed. Now their presence was recognized, their abilities respected, and their potential acknowledged. "Thank you," he said quietly, "not for praise but for the opportunity. We will continue to act, to learn, and to prove that humans belong here, not as outsiders but as equals. Use them wisely, and humanity will shape its own destiny among the stars." Their ingenuity, courage, and empathy had turned a moment of crisis into a triumph, gained respect from powerful civilizations, and established their place in a universe that had once overlooked them. As he walked through the station, he noticed subtle changes. Traders, diplomats, and soldiers regarded him with curiosity and newfound respect. Aliens who had dismissed humans now observed him carefully, measuring their words and actions with caution. The whispers of the human who outsmarted pirates, navigated complex challenges, and earned recognition spread throughout the station like wildfire. Eli paused for a moment, reflecting on the journey. The first challenge had tested observation and intelligence. The second had tested courage and empathy. The third had tested ingenuity under crisis. And today, in the council chamber, humans had proven that they were capable of understanding, influencing, and contributing to civilizations far older and more powerful than their own. He understood that this was only the beginning. The galaxy would continue to test humanity, throwing challenges and opportunities in equal measure. But humans were ready. They had the skills, the courage, and the insight to meet whatever came next. And perhaps, one day, they would not only survive among the stars, they would thrive. Eli glanced out at the vast expanse beyond the station. Ships moved gracefully, systems sparkled with life, and stars stretched into infinity. The galaxy was full of wonders yet unseen, challenges yet unmet, and civilizations yet to understand the potential of humanity. And in that moment, Eli felt a spark of pride and hope. Humans were small, yes, but they were capable of greatness. They were adaptable, courageous, empathetic, and endlessly inventive. Today, they had proven it. Tomorrow, and in the years to come, the galaxy would see just how remarkable humanity could be. And Eli knew, as he looked at the stars, that this was only the beginning of a journey that would change the galaxy forever.